Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the continuation of the All Star Wrestling Series. Going to get into 1981, most likely today, definitely by tomorrow, depending on my schedule. But and it's already been a busy day, and it isn't even noon, so that's a good thing. But anyway, we continue our foray, and we're into December of 1980 here, as we've got almost 40 of the nature of these available. December 6th, 1980 is the deal here. The major attempt, if I were to say anything, is to try to get a acknowledgement of the wonder that is the new tag team champions of Gurria and Martel. Martel, they are really trying to push as kind of I don't want to say cast over babyface, but a babyface who is, kind of bigger than he's actually been in the area for a number of reasons. They're really trying to get him over. They're really trying to treat him like he really, truly does matter, and putting him with Gurria because Gurria has a history. Probably a good way of doing that. At the same time, some would say, looking back at it, maybe they're forcing him. But in 1980, a much different time, 41 years ago. And so, certainly, as we go into this, the final stretch of 1980, an interesting run there. Anyway, so, show is hosted by Vince McMahon. Pat Patterson includes the tag champions, as mentioned, Rick Martel, Tony Gurria versus Baron Mikel Cicluna and Silvano Souza. Souza match from 12/6/1980 Championship Wrestling, and an interview with the champions post-match. Why they overlap the shows maybe is to get people to watch. I'm not really sure. I'm not a fan of overlapping and repeating footage, but that's also because I honestly think if you have can't miss television, there's no reason to overlap. But anyway, kind of going forward, obviously Vince and Pat are in there and kind of hyping things up. Sergeant Slaughter, still a pretty big deal here. He's on the show as well. And again, the new champions coming in. They don't really do intros and outros for the nature of the switches between, championship wrestling or whatever other programming is there, which has never really made sense to me. If you don't know you're switching shows, it can be kind of jarring or annoying. Martel in with takedowns and other basic maneuvers. Hop over and the side headlock by Gurria. Martel comes in, holds down on a wrist lock. Also gets a couple of leapfrogs and jump starts there. Cut off for the champions. And they use good quick tags and double team maneuvers. Other basic stuff along the way, and some hard shots as well. And we continue to kind of see, the champions dominating the match. Arm bars, arm locks, arm bringers, and the like. Mikel Cicluna has enough cachet as a guy who's been around for a while that him being in there is a pretty big deal. The brawl out on the floor with Gurria taking a good bit of punishment is kind of interesting. Mikel Cicluna does get some, basic brawling and other stuff, but they give nearly 13 or so minutes to the run of this match, which is a pretty big deal. Obviously, the champions get the victory, and then we go into a post-match deal. Even the champions, though, are a little nervous about the upcoming run with the Wild Samoans, return of the Wild Samoans. Martel is also presented with the Wrestler of the Year from All Japan. They acknowledge All Japan, of all things, for 1980, which is just interesting. Maybe there was some talk of a partnership between the two or something. Anyway, the Grand Wizard coming in with Sergeant Slaughter and Steve King going at it here. Basic brawling style match. Slaughter has not been built up fully yet, but they continue to do that. Headlocks and other basic maneuvers, real basic stuff. Slaughter takes King down to the match, gut wrench, gut buster type maneuver by Slaughter. Slaughter also manages to cut things off, doesn't get everything he wants, but manages to do what he can. Also, they go rounds, and eventually the win with the camel clutch. Slaughter continues to do the military gimmick in the post-match promo. Wizard says that he believes that Slaughter will be the one to defeat Bob Backlund, which I could imagine that, and I believe I've seen a match or two of those two guys, but been at least 20 years since I've seen such a match. Would be interested in seeing it. Probably will when I start reviewing the longer form house show events at some point in the not too distant, but maybe more distant than I want future. Then we go to the final match of the day, which happens to be a let's see here. Not the final match of the day. There's also a promise that there's a $5,000 challenge, Cobra Clutch challenge to anyone that can break it. Wizard also puts $5,000 of his own money up if Patterson, as in Pat Patterson, accepts the challenge and is successful. Pedro Morales up next in an enhancement match here. Jose Estrada. Of course, Morales has been a pretty big deal in the last several months, coming back, and of course, as a former world champion. Basic stuff, brawling between the two. Hip tosses by Morales. Morales also tries to cut him off, and punch kick by Morales. Morales eventually gets the roll up and the victory in under 3 minutes, but Pedro Morales, back on television, gives him a chance to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship or other championship and be pretty okay. The Moondogs, and presented by Captain Lou Albano. Albano kind of abandoning the Samoans. I think the Samoans by this point had easily integrated into Mid-South Television, so there's not really a whole lot to talk about as far as they're concerned. Moondogs with brawling nature, basically doing the kind of hillbilly hick stuff, punch kicks, chokes out, and basic things there. The babyface enhancement team gets a little bit of offense, but not enough. Maybe a couple punches, kicks. Maybe one of the Moondogs goes off their feet just about once, but Albano has his Moondogs under control, but just barely, and he even kind of whips the Moondogs along the way. Then we see another heel, this time Killer Khan, presented by Freddie Blassie. Killer Khan coming in and, kind of doing the punch kick chop deal. Very basic offense, so obviously getting him ready to eventually go at it with Andre the Giant, although I don't know if that was the original plan at the time when he was brought in or not. Of course, he comes back. This is the end of 1980. He is here, I think, through most of 81, if not into early 82, and then comes back in time for an 87 run with Hulk Hogan, but we will be back with more right after this.